Okay guys, so we're finally getting around to introducing the blue elephant in the room. What we have here is a absolutely beautiful B5 Blue 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. We started looking at motors first, if I remember correctly.
So yeah, we started looking on eBay to try to find drivetrains, like full engine pullouts. We looked at LKQ. It was really about 2 weeks of looking until we found this, and this was something you found because it had taken a hit, so it was kind of like a blemished engine pullout. So it has a cracked valve cover and a broken coil pack on the passenger side from the accident. Everything else was completely intact. The manifold wasn't damaged, not that we were using it anyway, and it's a 3,000 mile pullout.
Yeah, so
that was the...
What's cool, this particular seller on eBay actually would, and I love sellers that do this, they actually take a car that they just purchased from the auction and they videotape the process of starting it and showing the odometer. So this is the 6.4, right?
Correct.
6.4.
392.
392, about 425, somewhere in there, I would imagine, horsepower. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are, but...
Dan put it up.
Yeah. So with all that being said, we decided, okay, so we have an idea what we're going to do for a drivetrain. Now let's go find a body, and that's when I found on Craigslist.
Who said you could go on Craigslist?
Shopping.
I blocked that website.
I get bored.
I know your password.
On Craigslist, stumble across this, and I said, let's go buy it. And by that time, we had already decided we're not going to go down the route of just restoring it with its original drivetrain because we wanted it to be fun and enjoyable to drive.
When we bought this car, we already knew it needed a modern drivetrain. Yeah. There was no way we were putting a 383 in this, or a 440.
Yeah.
There was just no point. And
well, we wanted a freeway cruiser.
Yeah.
We wanted something that was a fun, daily driven car that you could enjoy.
More the first word, fun. Because that Challenger was not fun.
Well, that's,
to drive.
That is the case, in my opinion, for any original car dating back. Anything with a 727. I don't care if it's a 440, a 383. A 426 is kind of fun just simply because of the
torque monster.
It's a torque monster. But by today's standards, by today's cars, not even close in terms of enjoyment. The seats are all dilapidated. You kind of make a right turn, and it's like Where's the Beef commercial. You slide across the bench. So anyway, yeah, I wanted a modern car, and that's what we got. I mean, I've always been fond of a 70 Roadrunner. If you remember Tokyo Drift, at the very end scene when Dom is in the parking structure and they had that beautiful charcoal gray Roadrunner, it's a great body style. This car, if you remember, when we went and looked at it, it was sitting in this guy's backyard. God, it must have been years and years. It's an N code, so it's an original 383 car, and it was originally a B5 Blue. So the B5 Blue color is a great color. Today's standard, it's changed. It's a little bit of a brighter blue. You'll see this is a little bit more of an aqua blue, and this is the correct, true B5 Blue from the 70s. Who makes this subframe assembly?
So the subframe assembly is from Altercation. They supply it with the mounts that are supposed to be for a 392. They don't fit right on. It's nothing surprising. We knew when we put the manifolds on that were supposed to be for the swap that the engine mount is actually in the way on the driver's side. The runner was like colliding like directly with the mount. So it's either like make kind of like a channeled mount or notch it, fill it, and re-strengthen it so that way it's still the same shape. So that's what we did. We had it cut, notched, straightened, and reinforced so that way it still maintains the integrity. It's got a Flaming River power rack and pinion, and this is the oil pan that they recommended. It's a deep sump, and it comes with the pickup and everything for a 392 to use with this subframe, which I'm assuming is what they did to build their structure off of.
Are the spindles lowering spindles, or are they the subframe mounted in a way that, I think they're lowering spindles, right? I think we
this car we went with lowering spindles because we wanted the geometry to stay the same, and we wanted the car to be low.
So we
wanted the stance, but we didn't want to sacrifice geometry. So this has 2-inch drop spindles. There's still some more adjustment on the coilover. This is a 2-way adjustable coilover in the front. We picked Willwood 6-piston front brake kit. It's a 12.2-inch rotor, drilled and slotted, black. I could have gone with a slightly larger rotor, but then we would have had to wait 4 more months just for 3/4 of an inch.
Will our 18-inch Steelies fit on these?
18s will fit. It requires minimum 17s.
Okay, good. The idea is 18-inch Steelies, painted body color, dog dish hubcaps. That's going to look so sick. And then, of course, what are we going to do about the rear? Just lower the rear lowering spring?
Yeah, the rear, we're either going to do like a rear drop leaf or just do like a lowering block and just stiffen up the rate on the leaves.
Okay.
We need to figure out what size ring gear is on it because this has a hell of a lot more torque than like real life torque.
Is this open diff, you think?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, remember our 68 Charger?
That's true.
That was a 440 car? No, that was originally a 383 car.
Yeah.
But it has a 440, and that was already open diff too.
Okay.
But this has real life torque, like modern day torque.
Yeah, right.
We dynoed one of our older 65 cars, and I mean, it made 160 wheel horsepower and 250 wheel torque in a car that's supposed to be 425 foot-pounds of torque, which is ridiculous. But this has real life horsepower and torque, so the rear end needs to be able to hold up to this.
Got it.
Being a manual, there's going to be clutch dumps, there's going to be burnouts. I mean, that's what manuals are for.
We're going to have to also do subframe connectors on this car. I'm sure there's a company that sells a kit. Something else we're going to have to look into.
These guys probably sell it.
Oh, Altercation. Yeah. Power brakes, or are we going to go with manual Willwoods? I mean, honestly,
I'm going to look at what it had. Like, if the booster is rebuildable, I don't want to do an aftermarket booster because that never works out for us.
They never work.
Always leak.
Never.
They don't hold enough vacuum.
Yep.
Like, you have good pressure for like one push, but if you have to like panic brake again, it's gone.
We've tried Hydro Boost on a lot of our builds too.
I don't like it. And
those make a lot of noise. I don't know. Just not a big fan of a lot of the brakes.
I think if you have the manual booster and it works, great, rebuild that. But if we don't, then the manual Willwood tandem master cylinder works great.
It's awesome.
If the pedal is corrected.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we've done it on heavy cars before, and it stops great, especially with Willwood's front and back, which is what we're doing.
Yep.
We do need to figure out the rear end and figure out the rear brake kit to still retain a foot e-brake, or we can convert to that electronic actuator thing.
Got it. Now, I think we went with is it a Flaming River column?
Yeah.
So we went with a tilt column. You know, being that this was an automatic on the column, now it's a Tremec 6-speed. Adrian had to do extensive metal work on the tunnel to make room for this monster transmission. And so what we're going to probably end up doing is kind of like what we did on our Eleanor build from years back, is build a custom center console that kind of looks the part.
It'll line up with wherever we want the shifter. Like, the Eleanor was great in terms of ergonomics feel of where the shifter was placed, and everything
it was perfect.
So good because like I'm short and I had to be close, but the shifter was still in the right spot. It wasn't like too far back.
Yeah.
You were like way taller than me and sitting all the way back. Shifter was still in the right spot. So it's like that needs to work to make a car like this worth the money later.
For sure.
Because universal like person placement. So.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the engine is getting the Mopar crate engine harness ECU control package. So it comes with the fuse box panel, all the harness to tie the engine harness into the panel, and the panel to run like the power distribution. Yeah. So like the alternator, the power, the start wire, everything is all by Mopar, brand new. Because we were going to originally do their like Hemi crate package that they displayed at SEMA.
Yeah, right.
But then they did away with that and started like selling everything separately.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, let's just find our own drivetrain and then buy all the pieces.
Yeah. They didn't do that at first.
No.
Unlike
they weren't
GM.
releasing it.
Yeah, GM they were known for that.
I don't understand. Maybe supply was an issue. I don't know. We got all the other stuff brand new. So yeah, our other option to choose still is whether we're going to do like a full new serpentine system, or if this system has no issues with clearance, then we're just going to run all this stuff.
Oh, like the one we did
like all the OEMs, if it all works, because then whoever ends up owning this car can just go to the dealer and get a 2017 Challenger alternator or power steering pump or AC unit.
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll all be OEM. Yeah. Or go with like that CVF racing system we did.
Yep.
I don't know. We might not do that one because if it pushes it out like it did on the 68 Charger, that's not gonna.
There's not a lot.
There's gonna be a lot less clearance
Yep.
in the front, and that's gonna be an issue.
So the idea for the interior is going to be a call out to what was originally in a 70 Roadrunner, but all modern stuff. We're going to use our own leather. We're going to use Alcantara for the headliner. We're going to take the original dash pad and we're going to wrap it in leather with nice stitching. You know, we're going to use the stock configuration gauge bezel, but we're going to use Dakota Digital gauges in an analog version.
It's all operated by mainly by the ECU and those sensors, so it's like real life actuation, like a new car.
Yeah, and what's cool is it's not going to be a panel with individual gauges. No. It's going to be the stock, 1970 Roadrunner bezel, brand new, but with some really cool looking gauges behind it. Shout out to Dakota. Yeah. Dakota Digital makes, in our opinion anyway,
best support too.
The best support ever, and they come up with anything you want. I love that company. We've used them for years. We've used them on...
Thanks to them, the TAC now works in the Supra. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
Because I didn't want to take that apart. The dash is perfect.
Yeah,
so we tapped into the TAC wire to use their module to adapt the TAC.
Great stuff. You can check them out online. They're not a sponsor, but we love their products. We are going to add power windows to it. Air conditioning.
Yep.
We're going to put some really nice bucket seats, and I'll just tell you right off the bat, we're going to use our
RX-8?
famous RX-8 seats. We make them look like for a 70s model.
And they always do.
Yeah, they do. They look fantastic. But they were reclinable. They have a lot more bolstering, and they're just a way more comfortable seat. So
it's more of a mid-back.
Yeah.
Like the 65 Rivies and the Mustangs all have a low back, so your neck is just like bobbing in the wind. But this is more of like a mid-back. So it has like some neck support, but no like full headrest, because I don't know, when you look at the side of the profile of the car with no post, you're generally not supposed to see the seats.
Well, not in the 70s. The 70s you started seeing the seats, but
they had like that
69 they had little headrests, and then 70s everything, it was all about neck support from being rear-ended.
I started painting since I was 18, pretty much. I took a couple classes in high school, RP, we can say. And then I took a couple classes in a shop, which my teacher started teaching me how to spray the primer, the bases, the clears. Started learning how to buff, which is one of the techniques. You gotta know how to buff and paint, kind of understand the materials. So we see 18, so I've been doing it for 20 something years already. You start learning more and more and more. Every day you learn something new. And the process in between the prepping and the painting and the primering, every car is different, but you always use the same technique no matter what. How you apply your primer, how you apply your base, how you shoot your clear. It's a RestoMod, so we pretty much were doing the car completely new again. So we went on the bottom belly, we repaired the imperfections, we added new material. I mean, it's freshly painted from the bottom already. The color that we're gonna be shooting the outside to, right? And as we know, Mopar, body color, pretty much everything. Even though it's a RestoMod, we want to kind of make it look original, but I mean with a little bit of modifications here and there. It took a little bit of time to actually find, we can say, because the B5 Blue, it was back in 1970, but it was back in the days it was shot single stage. So the issue that we had was the single stage and not matching the colors that we had nowadays. The base colors, the water bases, it was giving us a different shade. So we had to kind of mix and make it match. The routine, we're gonna shoot a similar sealer that will kind of be almost the same tone as the base that I'm gonna be shooting. And then we shoot our base. we clean it up, and then we shoot it clear. It's a process. We're masking. We're gonna clean it up. Go around the car a few times, see if we don't see any pinholes or any minor imperfections, a scratch here and there that we have to fix before we shoot anything else. Obviously, the sealer will help us kind of hide the imperfections, but we would rather avoid it first than shooting the sealer and then say, oh, we found this, found that. Well, the spray gun is based on the material that you're going to be using. It is a fine metal flake. You have to be aware that it can actually be blotchy based on the gun that you're going to be shooting. So, I mean, the smaller the needle, the less material will spray. So, in this case, we're shooting with the SATA 5000, a 1.4 needle, which is the perfect needle for the metal flake that we're using. I'll use the SATA 5000. I mean, I feel comfortable. And no issues with blotchiness or how the metal will sit. Obviously, we're using a slow reducer that will help the paint actually lay down flatter. After that, I like using the DB1 for the clear. That gun, I like using it because it uses less air, but it shoots better material with not making a lot of overspray. Obviously, we're going to be shooting 3-4 coats, looking nice and glossy. You're invited to go inside with me. We'll have a great time shooting that car.
All right, so from here, this week, we're going to go ahead and get all this stuff refitted back to the body now that it's been painted and get the spindle situated. The brakes are coming any day. They were in stock. They were just shipping from Wilwood directly. So everything that's new is now going to be fitted on the car, and there's going to be some adaptations, of course, because there's stuff we haven't fitted. The column, the fuel tank that's brand new from Aeromotive.
Center console work.
Center console is going to be custom. The Tremec is huge compared to 727, and just these bodies have small tunnels. So that's it for this video, guys. We're going to go ahead and get to work on this Roadrunner. Keep an eye out for everything that's to come. We have a lot more parts to order, and a lot of that stuff is going to be coming from Classic Industries. So we really appreciate them having this stuff flowing in stock. I know containers get delayed, but thanks to them, we're able to get moving on this car a lot faster. Stay tuned. Don't misfire. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys. I feel really weird sitting here in a chair having this conversation with you guys. I almost feel like we need a
Cup of tea.
A cup of tea. We sit like this.
Or coffee.
And to continue, well, you didn't have that. We didn't have this when we bought it.
This was the idea, though.
Yeah. Why did we do this? I can't remember.
Because it's way better than any old piece of shit motor we could have bought.
You can't cuss. This is YouTube.
He could fucking.
Ugh.